My
Hear me? Tell me if you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. What's going on here? I think I just fixed it, no? Should be fixed now. All right, good. Good, I'm glad. So, yeah, that's what we've been doing. We did a lot of great stuff in Minnesota. Thank you so much, Rosa Rajo. I appreciate you. It says, best part of my day. I despise going to the doctor, so I empathize with you. Hope you're feeling better. I am, Rosa. Thank you so much. And yes, it absolutely sucks. It really does. Laura, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Hope your doctor went well. It went okay. Went okay. Honestly, for me, it's just getting in and out of there. Like, it's like a survival thing for me. Like, I just cannot stand going to the doctor. It's like my worst fear. I just don't like going to the doctor. I just don't like it. But for a million reasons I'm not going to get into right now. But anyway, we accomplished a lot of great stuff in Minnesota. Let's just go over that really quick before we start talking to people. Because it's important to recognize these things. So, we helped some small businesses. We raised money for small businesses. We got multiple different families groceries while we were in Minnesota. There was a few individuals that were struggling as a result of dealing with ICE. I just gave them cash out of my own pocket. We connected people who were arrested at protests with attorneys. We documented the ICE withdrawal, basically getting it out there that ICE didn't leave and clocking the numbers so we could give rates. Amplified voices, raised money for boots on the ground organizations that are doing things in Minnesota as well. So we did just about everything you could possibly do in Minnesota. The work is not done there. There's a lot of work to be done, but ICE has not left Minnesota. If you go watch my videos on TikTok, I've documented that pretty thoroughly. Some of those will go up on YouTube today. But yeah, it's important people don't look away. They've tried to make it seem as if they've left Minnesota. And the only difference is they're more strategic. That's it. They're just more strategic. They have not left, though. And I did exact rates, so it's not me just guessing. I did literal rates. So, for instance, I would calculate how many cars came out during their peak hours, give you exact number of vehicles per hour, per minute. So, if you guys haven't checked those out, I highly recommend you do. Kind of just trying to get back in the groove of things right now. I will admit I'm pretty damn tired. I would appreciate the support, super chats and all that kind of stuff, and we'll go from there. I guess we'll take some calls. Let's see what's going on in that world. See what's going on. Does anyone have any questions or anything you want to go over? I know I've been absent from streaming a little bit, but there was some pretty important things we need to address in other places. So, Marianne, thank you so much, Marianne. And listen, if you guys have any advice on where we should go next, listen, I have kind of a surprise coming up for people. I'm going to take a one-day trip to go scope out one of these warehouses. So I'm going to give you boots on the ground footage of these warehouses. Yes. So I should be doing that in the next few days or so, whether it's, I don't know if it's tomorrow or it's going to be the beginning of next week, but I will be taking the time to go give you direct footage of what these things look like. And look, this is becoming more of a conversation now because we saw another warehouse now being purchased in New Hampshire. Highly concerning, folks. I mean, highly concerning. I mean, are we deporting people or are we mass detaining people? Like, what are we doing? You know? Illusion, appreciate you, bro. Yeah, I mean, if you mean ice, let ice grind me down. No, it's just, you know, traveling and everything. It's a lot of work, man. It's just a lot of work, and it's worth it, and I push through it. But you know, it's time away from my family, and it's not fun. So, but I'm very proud of the work that I did in Minnesota. That's something that I will always be proud of, and you guys should be proud of it too, because I wouldn't be able to do it without your support. It's not me by myself doing it because it's not possible unless you guys support me, right? Like, it's that simple. It's not me, it's us, right? Because I can't help the people. I couldn't, you know, I don't have a ton of money, but I had money to, you know, a little extra where I could give money away to people that needed it and change people's change people's day in the moment that are really dealing with some real hardships. The community, you know, sent money to businesses and sent money to things that boots on the ground organizations, first aid groups like Care Bears, you know, like that happens because of the community that we've built here. So that's really powerful stuff. I mean, I can't tell you guys, I wish you guys had the satisfaction of like seeing the, you know, faces of people like as their face changed. Like this Fruitilandia, I think it's called, this business that we did a recent fundraiser for. The lady who owns that business, when I walked into the business, she's like, she didn't really understand what I was saying. I'm like, yeah, I'm a social media creator, a political kind of activist, but boots on the ground journalist kind of creator, and I do these things, and I'd like to help you like raise some money today to help your business today, right? As if you would have all these customers here. She didn't really understand what I was saying, but she knew that I wasn't. She could tell, like, by the way I was speaking, that I was someone trying to help. So she called her daughter, and I got on the phone with her daughter, and I explained it to her daughter, and she's like, "Oh my God, I would really appreciate that." And they were very, very grateful. They were. When I went back in, she was just, you know, trying to have me not pay for a drink that I wanted to buy on the way out. She said, "You did so much for me today. I don't want you to have to pay." When you see the reaction of people, there's no better feeling, especially people who are in a circumstance like that, where they've been dealing with, you know, just completely being brutalized by the federal government for God knows how long, and you can just change their day just a little bit. Like, hey, some random guy walks in your business and he's like, hey, I'd like to raise some money for you, and all of a sudden people are sending you Venmos. You know what I mean? Like, boom, 20, 10, 5, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, 20. You know what I mean? Like, that makes a big difference for a small business like that. Like, they probably had a great day business-wise because of the community. So, and also people went there, you know, and stuff like that. So that's what you get in return, is seeing people's reaction to it. So it really, it's very powerful. And I wish you guys could have seen that, but I can't show people, like, you know, I'm not going to show a Mexican woman who just had to close her business. You know, you could hear her talking, but you got to be careful. You can't show people's faces, but you'll have to live through me when I say that. There was a smile on her face. So, yes, I am concerned about the situation with Iran. Look, I don't even know which direction to go, folks. There's so many different things happening simultaneously. I truthfully don't know which direction to go. If you are a Trump supporter, call in 908-652-3703 if you'd like to have a conversation. We can. I can't believe there's a Trump supporter out there that still supports what's happening, but I guess there is. I mean, I cannot believe there are people out there still supporting what's going on here. I mean, I just can't believe it. You know, there are times I can't believe this is the United States of America. You know, and to think that there are people that look around and go, this is the country I want? This is the country you want to live in? This is the country that you want? It's not the country I want. I don't want to live in a country where children are running away from the federal government. You know, I just don't. Now, let's talk about this, okay? Let's talk about this. Another person was, in fact, killed by ICE. And I need to bring this up. It's very important. I bring this up. It needs to be discussed. It needs to be discussed. And I want to talk a little bit about it. So let's talk about Dr. Linda. Let's talk about Dr. Linda Davis of Savannah, Georgia. So ICE was chasing a person, right? A fleeing immigrant, as they said. And that vehicle crashed into her car. That's another person who died as a result of ICE. Okay? They were supposedly conducting some kind of operation for a gentleman who had a final order of removal, which they claim was issued by a federal judge. I haven't seen this yet specifically, but this is my understanding. After they initially stopped him, he fled in his car. They said he ran a red light trying to get away from them, and then made some kind of like turn and then collided with her vehicle, and she is gone. She was killed. So that's on ICE. That's on ICE. Look, folks, I'll explain it to you this way, okay? People that work for ICE are not identifying themselves. You would not know the difference between a guy trying to kidnap you and an immigration customs enforcement agent. Okay? You would not know the difference. I was saying this earlier. It would be the perfect time to be a serial kidnapper in fucking Minnesota or any of these other places that are victims of these operations, because how would you know that that's not a serial murderer, kidnapper, sexual abuser? How would you know that? Somebody pulls up on you with a mask, dressed in plain clothes. Let's hear it in the chat. Is anyone in here stopping for that? I mean, let's be honest. Let's be real with each other right now. Is anyone in here stopping for a vehicle, a random vehicle, with the driver and passenger have masks on, dressed as plain clothes? Are any of us stopping, American citizens or not? No, I'm not fucking stopping. Under any circumstances am I stopping. And this is why I've said before, ICE needs to start identifying themselves. They need to pull the fucking masks off. They need to have body cams on, and they need to stop this shit immediately. Actually, they need to be abolished is what needs to happen. But at the very least, pull your mask off. I had an ICE agent pull up. I'll play this video real quick instead of just talking about it. This was an ICE agent, okay, that pulled up next to me 2 days ago. If you guys haven't been following my TikTok, there's some really good videos on there. Highly informative. Highly recommend you check them out. Let's take this phone call first. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, are you a Trump supporter?
I support Trump.
Okay, that's a fetus. That is 100% a fetus, folks. That was a fetus. So we're going to move on quick. Let me show you something. That was a fetus. I don't know why fetus are calling me, but, it is what it is. I don't even know how a fetus comes across this channel, as it's specifically marked not for children. But, okay, whatever. Well, let's see. Oh, no, that's on my Instagram. Oh, no, I have it here.
Here we go. There's an ICE agent. Look at that. He's got a...
So let's pull this up here. This guy literally pulled up next to me 2 days ago. Okay? I want you to see what he's wearing.
Here we go. There's an ICE agent. Look at that. He's got a ski mask on, folks. A literal ski mask on his face. Look at that. That is an ICE agent you're looking at right now, wearing a ski mask. A literal ski mask. Here we go. There's an ICE agent. Look at that. He's got a ski mask on, folks. A literal ski mask on his face. Look at that. That is an ICE agent you're looking at right now, wearing a ski mask. A literal ski mask. Here we go.
Folks, it was 50 degrees outside. I mean, he's in the car anyway, but it's just important to notice that that's 50 degrees outside that day. A literal ski mask. You tell me if that individual pulls up next to you and says, John, Jane, get in the vehicle right now. We have a warrant for your arrest. Are you getting in the vehicle? I'm for damn sure not. And I think that's reasonable for anybody to flee. ICE is responsible for Dr. Linda's death. Local police in the county said they were not a part of the federal immigration operation and only became involved after the crash. The Department of Homeland Security and ICE have stated they're reviewing the incident, while DHS officials used the case to argue that fleeing and resisting law enforcement endangers officers and bystanders. Fleeing law enforcement, they used this case as an example of why fleeing endangers officers. Why don't we use this as an example of take your mask off, you're scaring people? She was a black educator from Savannah's black community that is now dead because of the policies of this administration. Point blank. Point blank. I mean, what else is there to say? Furthermore, on my trip, I did a lot of clocking, which is calculating how many cars come in and out compared to how many vehicles were coming in and out during my last trip. And what I was surprised to find out was that it appears more vehicles, that there's more
Here's
of
another
a rapid response in Minnesota than there was before. This suggests a highly organized, rapid response operation into the community. Meanwhile, they're on national television saying there's a drawdown.
Here's another ICE agent. This is one of 107 vehicles that I have documented coming out of the Federal Whipple building here in Minnesota in the last 2 hours and 40 minutes. Here's another ICE agent. This is one of 107 vehicles that I have documented coming out of the Federal Whipple building here in Minnesota in the last 2 hours and 40 minutes. Here's another
beyond that, the next day, that was 2 hours and 40 minutes, I clocked 166 ICE agents masked heading into the community in 3.33 hours. 166. I saw a vehicle leave that building masked to head into that community once every 60 to 90 seconds. That's not a drawdown. So what they've done here, what Tom Homan has done here, a far more strategic person than Bovino. Bovino likes to dress like a schmatzy. You know, he'll come out. I mean, you guys remember some of those first days in Minnesota, we were just straight up fighting with ICE. They'd just come out and get in our face, and we'd have standoffs every hour in the middle of the night. I mean, it was crazy. Homan's a little different, far more strategic. Blend into the community, draw less attention to yourself, look like a normal citizen. Don't engage too much with the agitators. Although I will say ICE was talking just as much shit to me as they were the last time. In fact, this time they told me, we know who you are. That's their scare tactic. They like to take pictures of you and things. I could care less. I do a little twirl every time. But the point is, as active, as rapid as it was previously, and that's not a good sign, folks. That means, and look, the people of Minnesota are so badass that they literally changed the way they're operating. But what ends up coming out of this? Well, it could be harder to defend. It could be harder to defend. You see, when they were just doing whatever they wanted, they were just outright, assaulting people. We as bad as it is, we could see it. It wasn't hidden. We've seen these examples as of late, and I have tons of connections now in Minnesota, boots on the ground. I've been there for I don't know how long. And this is what we're hearing. Far more women ICE agents are now in Minnesota. And again, I can only speak to Minnesota directly at this point, or in Minnesota, where the occupation was. They are now posing as food banks to draw in vulnerable, potentially undocumented people. They are pretending as if their vehicles are broken down, using women ICE agents to act like vulnerable pedestrians, citizens on the side of the road with flat tires. So people approach to help. If that suspect, if they deem that suspect undocumented, which not sure how they're doing that, they run up and arrest them. So deception, camo, right? Blending in. So these are some of the things that we have noticed. Again, it's pretty early in the, right after they said that he's already stated, a bunch already left. We just have some left there and they're leaving too. That's not happening. 1 to 2 vehicles leaving every 100 seconds is not a drawdown. They're just changing their strategy, right? They're drawing less attention to themselves. They're being far more strategic. And that's why I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go right to the federal building and I'm just going to spend hours there tallying how many cars come in and out. And listen, I know when a car is heading into the community. I know the way that they're dressed, and I know exactly what they're doing, right? These are cars headed into the community to go brutalize people. Now, sometimes they have teams set up, either 2 or 4 vehicles at a time. And what I've now noticed is sometimes there are these teams that leave 4 vehicles at a time, 2 occupants minimum per vehicle, always 2 minimum per vehicle. But these teams of 4 are now there's this like caravan that goes with them, which I didn't see before. Not this much. And I saw it a few different times now, these teams of 4. And they leave with these big vans that could probably fit 10, 15 people in the back. And then, of course, we look at how many reported abductions there are all over the place. All over the place, we're hearing people are being taken. Yesterday was a horrible day in Minnesota. Tons of people were kidnapped yesterday. Tons. Today, this morning, I also got a phone call. Was a really bad late morning, early afternoon. And their peak hours seem to be between 10 and 3:30. Those are like the hours I've gathered they're most active, between 10 and 3:30. Again, people are still being released in the middle of the night. This is one of the biggest things I think is highly concerning that people don't talk about enough, is people leaving in the middle of the night. Leaving in the middle of the night, being dropped off outside of the Whipple building in sometimes sub-zero temperatures with no coat on, no phone, no communication, no car, left to die. Left to die. I mean, this is quite literally what's happening, folks. Don't worry about what the news is saying. I'm showing it to you in real time.
There's another person being released that was kidnapped or taken by ICE. This is the show of community support here. Making sure he's warm, making sure he's taken care of. And that's why this community is so great, people. It's just
That's still occurring, and that's not being discussed enough. That's, I think, probably one of the more disturbing things that I've seen is people being released in the middle of the night. The other day, a teenager walked out of the federal building. A teenager, child. They walk out, they're distraught. You can tell some don't speak much English. They come out, they see a bunch of people supporting them, and their face kind of, they'll give like a smile, like, wow, I can't believe I'm actually getting support this way, which is why it's so important to maintain a presence there. But another guy I saw, one of the guys I saw released just a couple days ago, the day before yesterday, he walked out. He was kind of disoriented. You could tell they just threw his stuff in his stuff in his hands and pushed him on the way. Get out. He was walking down the middle of the road, had no idea where he was going. And that's why communities like Safe Haven are great in Minnesota, because they're waiting there to help people and make sure that they get a ride home. So that is kind of the gist of what it's been like in Minnesota. Things haven't changed, and that's what's important for you to understand. Things have not changed. Things are exactly the same as they were, maybe worse. And it is important that we're listening to the people in Minnesota and not Tom Homan. Not Tom Homan. So if there's any questions about that, you can let me know. But that's basically the gist of it. The women driving and when they're getting in position, but no, what they'll do is they'll take their mask down. They're wearing civilian clothes, and they'll stand by a vehicle as if like their vehicle broke down. They try and draw an attention from the community. Another thing that is really important that everyone understands too, what ICE is doing, one of the things they're doing is they're putting Uber and Lyft stickers on their vehicles. So this is a part of like Oregon or California. I saw a video he posted that he walked up and confronted this ICE agent, and he threw an Uber and Lyft light up on his car. And he gets up, and it's an ICE agent. And I was like, live stream, it all plays into the same thing. Trying to blend in more, trying not to draw too much attention to yourself, because if you draw less attention from people like myself and other people who are keeping track of you, You can get your job done more efficiently. So I think it actually could become harder to defend against them here. I'm very concerned. I think something we need to start coming. That is coming. Look, you're not going to sell me that you need to buy warehouses for $85 million for undocumented criminals. We don't have that many people in this country that are criminals, that are undocumented. So I don't know what the plan is long term, but I can tell you that we just heard the Department of Homeland Security issued administrative subpoenas to social media companies telling them they want the information of people who speak negatively about ICE. They are collecting a database, and this all goes back to what we've talked about since before the election. As a part of Phase 3, criminalizing the left side of the political spectrum is going to be a part of this administration. Another issue we've been talking about lately, the conversation about the midterms. Folks, they're telling us what they're going to do. And it's not that they're telling us so we can prepare. They're trying to desensitize people to the idea, because we're going to see things during these midterms like we've never seen in this country before. We're talking ICE agents, rapid response in fatigue, standing outside your polling location. Is not in great shape. I'm tired. I just want this to go smoothly. So can we please make that happen? Everyone in here, tell me how you can hear me loud and clear. If you can hear me loud and clear, please let me know. Shit seems perfectly fine on my side. I don't know why it's causing a problem. Oh, there was issues with YouTube today. I forgot about that. Just so you guys know, there was some issues. YouTube was down for a little bit today, so that might be what the problem is. I don't know. If you guys don't know that, YouTube was down. There was a bunch of social media issues they were having today, so maybe that on Patreon, whether it's on YouTube. So if you're someone who supports, I would really appreciate becoming a member here on YouTube, becoming a member on Patreon, becoming a member on all of these things. YouTube did this last night for everyone, yet it's not on my side, I can tell, so it's got to be YouTube. And some people are saying it's good on their side, so it's definitely not me. Whatever's happening with YouTube, it's screwing up for some reason. I guess there's some social media issues today with YouTube in particular. Day to come back on YouTube, but one of the things that I'm going to try and save up for, hopefully if I get enough support, is a laptop, so I can bring a laptop with me on these locations so I can stream YouTube like this also, and not just stream when I'm out and about. Able to more effectively document where I'm going. Look, we have, this year is going to be rough. This summer is going to be rough. I imagine I'm going to be on the road a lot this summer. It's looking like New Jersey, Philly area, or potentially New Hampshire, New England, Maine kind of area is possible next too, but it looks like it's going to be the Northeast next. We'll see what happens. Do you think the YouTube stuff is related to the subpoena? No, I do not. So the subpoena is what essentially they don't have to comply, right? It's a request, more or less. The social media stuff, I have no idea what it has to do with, and it's not just YouTube. There's a bunch of places that are struggling with it right now. Hello?
Call from
Gonzalez.
Hello?
to send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello? I don't know what that guy's doing. I don't know what's happening here. Maybe this was a bad day to come back, but I'm going to try and push through it. If you were calling, call back again. Try again. ICE is in my area. They haven't harassed me yet, but I've seen them pulling over work trucks. Yep. And if you visual progression, and before you know it, you have a full occupation. Like it starts as a gradual progression, and then you have a full occupation. If you just tried to call in, try and call in again. 908-652-37 908-652-3703. I hope people can hear me fine, but it appears that it's buffering a lot. Maybe I need to